morning, and hello. So glad you're here today. We're at 8:40 now. We're at 20 before 9, and advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments are appropriate for you, please consult with a financial advisor. Second Half Financial Partners, LLC does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax or legal advisor regarding your particular situation. And that fancy pants voice indicates that it's time to check in on your finances with the expertise of Phillip Statler from Statler Financial Services this morning. Phillip, good morning. How are you today? And I hope your weekend was wonderful.
Hey, I'm doing well today, Dave. Yep, actually, weekend was good. Got a little work done yesterday, a holiday, but that gives you opportunity to get some work done. It's quiet when it's a holiday.
That ends up giving a 4-day week for a whole lot of people, including the stock traders, which means we got 4 days worth of excitement to go through. And I was mentioning yesterday while I was talking about what happened, we're really developing a pattern of the big money guys taking money off the table at the end of the day on Fridays, just on the grounds that so dang much is happening in Washington over a weekend. Who wants to leave it someplace where you can't do anything about it if something weird goes on? The news cycle is suddenly 7 days a week these days, and that makes the end of the week. It's been almost every week now since the election. We take money off the table on Friday and then put it back on Monday. Friday we were down on the Dow by 165 points. S&P was down by under a dollar. NASDAQ was up by a little bit. It sounds like it was kind of a nothing day, but across the week, the NASDAQ was up 2.5%. Standard & Poor's was up 1.5%. It's bumping its nose on record territory. And the Dow, even with that 165-point drop on Friday, it was up by 0.5% for the week. So taken across 5 trading days, it wasn't a bad week, was it?
No, it wasn't, Dave. And we're seeing that. There's just more volatility as the news cycle, what's Dodge doing now? What are we doing over here? And, what's Trump doing now, and what's happening over in the Ukraine, and there's just so many balls in the air right now. It's hard to say which one's affecting what at this point in time.
And the news cycle has gotten extended so much with a president that's just as likely to tweet something from a White House bathroom at 2 in the morning. I mean, you never know what's going to end up happening day to day. I mean, we can take and judge. We'll let people's political leanings judge what the events are and the value of them. But at the same time, the news cycle is pretty much a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week proposition, and it's making things a little bit more volatile on the markets than we're probably used to seeing. So we had what boiled down to, on balance, a good week last week. You and I were kind of scratching our heads over the inflation figures because when the consumer price index came out on, I think, Wednesday of last week, we pretty much took a dive. Then the producer price index came out on Thursday, and I might have my days off on that, and we ended up going up. I finally found an economist that figured out why that happened. What they did is a bunch of the categories inside the CPI and the PPI numbers indicated that when we get down to the personal consumption expenditure number at the end of the month, we're going to get some good news. They're figuring that the core PCE inflation rate might actually clock in at 2.6%, which would be down from 2.8 from December. You and I both kind of look at that as reading tea leaves, but that, as much as anything, was where the conventional wisdom came from for why things went up when the producer price index report came in last week.
Oh, so at least we've got some reasoning behind it now, anyway.
Yeah, it's reasoning. Flip a coin. It's going to be a quiet week this week. We're waiting on the one thing that's going to matter today, and that's going to be a report on the housing market index from the National Association of Home Buyers. But once we get past that for the week, we're going to get mortgage applications tomorrow. A bunch of housing and building permit numbers starting tomorrow we'll get. And then after that, Thursday's our routine jobless claims number, and it's a relatively quiet week as far as data dump is concerned. And worse yet, we're getting toward the end of earnings season, so a lot of the household names have already reported as well.
Well, that's true. Now, let's don't forget, we have the minutes, from the Fed January meeting coming out this week as well on Wednesday.
Yeah, That's 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I almost forgot that. The green eye shade people go crazy over that. Of course, so much has changed since the last Federal Reserve meeting. I wonder whether or not it's going to be a major market mover anyway, because this is a meeting that they had back how many weeks ago? And since then, 87 other things have changed as far as the administration.
Yeah, that's true. A lot has changed, that's for sure.
It's been an interesting earnings season, by the way. As of the close on Wednesday, 48% of the Standard & Poor's 500 has been outperforming the index so far this year. That's about average for the 25-year median, but it's a big improvement over last year when only 29% of the Standard & Poor's 500 did. And what's really kind of interesting, guess who's not outperforming the major indexes? The Magnificent Seven. Meta and Amazon are the only two out of the Magnificent Seven tech companies that have been so hot that have actually outperformed the Standard & Poor's 500. This rally, if you can call it that, has actually been pretty broad-based so far.
Well, that's good. We like to see a broad base because that gives a better foundation for the index as a whole. You know, and like you said, there's not much in the way of earnings. I did find one that came out this morning, a company called Medtronics, which is obviously a medical device maker. And they had disappointing revenue numbers, even though they exceeded the earnings estimate by about 3 cents a share, came in at $1.39. But they did miss on revenue. And so that's got Medtronics trading down almost 5.2% this morning.
Woohoo, that's not a good start for the day. Tidbits out there, I found out Southwest Airlines is going to cut 15% of their corporate workforce. That's about 1,750 jobs. They say they want to save like something like $3 billion over the next 5 years. I guess that means they're going to make us pay for peanuts now too, I'd imagine.
Well, you know, hey, that's got their stock trading up about 2% this morning.
Yeah, I noticed that the business analysts seem to like it down the line. GameStop is rallying again too. They're going to sell some of their international operations. For once, it's not the Reddit gang that's driving their stock up.
Well, that's interesting. They're not on my. I haven't seen anything come across my tip sheet on GameStop this morning, so you got me on that one.
Yeah, I don't see them on the earnings listings, but I do see them that evidently issued some guidance saying that they're selling some of their international operations. Otherwise, like I said, it's a pretty quiet day. Setting the table for the morning, on balance, Friday was kind of a nothing day. We ended up sitting on our hands for the weekend while our markets were closed, 45 minutes before we opened for the first trading session of the week. What are we looking at, Phillip?
We got some a tinge of green ink across the board. The Dow's up almost, not quite, but almost 0.2%. S&P 500 is up almost 0.4%. And the NASDAQ 100 as well as the Russell 2000 are up almost 0.5% each. So we're moving in the right direction on the futures market. On the other side, we've got silver up almost 0.9%. Still way off its high from early last week at $33.14 an ounce. Gold's making a big jump this morning, up 1.25, $2,937 an ounce. Crude oil, same direction. It's up as well, almost 0.7%, but it's kind of in that ballpark. It's been running $71.19 a barrel.
Yeah, I got some hopes in yesterday morning when I saw it down in the $70 range for a while. It really looked kind of nice. Overseas markets, the Asian Rim, by and large, mostly was off, primarily because of the mainland Chinese markets. One of the two mainland Chinese indexes was off 1.6% at the close this morning, which is going to drag the entire Rim down. Over in Europe, on balance, they're having a pretty good day. The average European index is up between 1/3 and 0.5% halfway through their trading day. So we got some green ink where it counts anyway. Want to get a retirement plan going, or are you still living on dreams? I'd advise a plan, and that involves a call to you, Phillip. How do I find you to get that plan?
Dave, that's why I developed the core retirement design to help people design that retirement they always dreamed of. They can give us a call at 863-382-0037 to schedule their core retirement analysis. And then join us this weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, 6 a.m. and noon on Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday morning on Highlands News Talk, 7:30 a.m. and 95.3 FM.
And back here again tomorrow morning about the same time and look at markets first thing. I thank you so much, and we'll see you then.
All right, man. Have a great day.
Thank you. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services. Phillip Statler.
Folks, again, I want to thank you for joining us today. Talk to you again tomorrow. Take care now. Bye.